wake up, boy. That's what my pops would say to me all the time, like especially when I wasn't paying attention. And I can't believe it. Well, I can believe it because it happened. I got a chance to be able to go and see my daughter's, what was it, show choir competition. It was out in Phoenix. I wanted to surprise her, but yet I got Life 360 on my phone. So my daughter knew I was coming, but it was just so great to be in the audience. She did great. They got third place. It was unbelievable. And to be able to see her. Well, I flew in, I was going to fly back, and I was flying back into Carlsbad, which is the greatest city in the world where I live right now. And I was, got to the airport, got there a little bit early. I was a little bit tired, you know, whatever it was, but I'm sitting there, and then I started doing what we all do. I don't know if you guys do it, but I started doom scrolling. And doom scrolling, I just heard that term the other day. I was like, what does that actually mean? But I learned what it meant because I was doing it. I was just scrolling through on my phone. I was locked in. I was doing all this stuff. I made a couple phone calls. I was back and forth, and I was probably 20 foot from my flight, like from the boarding door. I kept checking and seeing the plane was there, but they weren't boarding, and I was back and forth. Didn't hear Carlsbad. Didn't hear anything. And then I look, and I'm like, man, it's like 7 minutes till we leave. The plane's still there. They hadn't called for Carlsbad. Didn't hear my name. No big deal. So I just go back to strolling. Maybe we are delayed. And then I realize, I look back, I'm like, man, it's like 5 minutes past when I was supposed to be on that plane, and that's where I was supposed to leave. But let me just go ahead and check. The plane's gone. And I look around, I'm like, oh my gosh, did I just miss my flight? And I did miss my flight because I was sitting there and I was not paying attention. My pops would always say this, wake up, boy. He said, you gotta slow down. You gotta be present. And to slow down, to really truly wake up, think about that. You got to slow down. You got to slow your dreams down. You got to slow what's happening while you're sleeping. And you got to be present. When you wake up, you have to be exactly right there. Sometimes I wake up in like a stupor. My wife always makes fun of me. It's like, you know, because I'll wake up and just be like, oh my God, like what's happening? I'm shocked and whatever. But literally, like waking up snaps you back into slowing down and being present. Because ain't nothing happening fast, right, when you wake up. I don't know about you guys, but it takes me a little bit of time. And as my pops was going through this, like, you know, he would always constantly tell me, wake up, boy. Like, and it was just a call out. It was a call out to me to realize that, you know, for me, my phone had become more important. I was locked into other things. There were so many things that were going on. I was trying to, you know, manage Instagram and LinkedIn and, you know, TikTok and a phone call and an email and all these things. And it was the same thing that I heard from my brother when I was on my guy's trip. He just grabbed my phone. He said, be present, man. He said, be present right here, right now. Slow down. And what I realize is that most of the time when I slow down, there's so much more that I can accomplish, which is contrary to the way that I think, because I think that if I speed up, I'll be able to do all these things. But when I slow down, I become more effective. And so Proverbs 18 hit me with this. It hit me right square in the face, and it was just a bunch of questions. And these questions, by reading them every single morning, that's what I would challenge every one of you to do, is to write these down. Grab a notepad, you know, whatever it is, and maybe when you're back, because you should be walking right now, that's what I would suggest you do while you're listening to the podcast. Take a little walk, 15, 20 minutes. Keep you healthy, and you get some soul food. But when you get back to the house, listen to it again before you share it with somebody else. And write down these questions and ask yourself these questions every day. And when you do this for a week and see how quickly things start to slow down and how you have to be present because you have to answer the questions. And God asked me those questions yesterday, and I had to be present in those answers. Not all the questions did I like, because some of them made me feel like he was judging me a little bit. But why don't we get this party started?
Achieving, cause we believing, it's for certain, we put the work in, we ain't stopped just because it's hurting, right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise.
I'm going to keep telling you guys to come to the Vibe Experience because honestly, it's going to be outrageous. We just added John Elston to the lineup. We've already got Baron Baptiste. We got Keith Hale. We got James Dixon, Peter Anthony, myself. We got Claudia Ryan playing music. We got Linda Schwartz is going to be doing comedy, and we are going to have comedy at the Vibe Room for the very first time. We're creating that. We call it the Vibe Experience because in the morning from 9 till 3:30, we're going nuts and bolts as far as working with your business, your marketing, aligning your heart, your mind, your skills to create an irresistible vibe. And I tell you, like, having the right vibe in your company, your culture, all your leadership, your systems, all those things. The vibe is the most important thing. That's the thing that I found that most people don't work on, but it's the part that causes us the most challenge. So the Vibe Room or the Vibe Experience, April 12th, Edison House, Salt Lake City. This event should be illegal. Honestly, like it should be illegal because it's going to be, I mean, so much fun. So many great people there. It's going to be incredible. So, another episode of Inchstones. If you haven't shared it already, stop right now what you're doing and share it as quickly as possible. That would mean the world to me. Today is Proverbs 18. Proverbs 18 takes us through a series of questions that will slow us down and demand our presence. This was hard for me because I got kicked in the face the other day because I missed my flight, right? So I missed my flight in Phoenix. And then when I go to get another one, it's 4.5 hours later. So I have to sit in the airport for 4.5 hours. And I have to think about the fact that I wasn't present, that I hadn't slowed down enough to literally just hear my flight taking off. Like, and so Rob, I didn't tell you this. This is my big brother, Rob. I didn't tell you this, but you're right. Stay present, slow down. I understand. Hopefully I'll listen to it in the future. But I appreciate you, man. And I love you more than you could ever imagine. But this slowing down and being present thing is just, all I hear is my pop just saying, wake up, boy. Like, wake up. And there was no one to blame in the airport except for me. Like, I was the only one. And I find that I get my wheels spinning so fast at times that I'm not focused in on the thing that's right in front of me. And so here it's just a series of questions like in this. And when I went through these questions, these were questions that God was asking me this morning. And, you know, it was tough because, or it was yesterday morning, and it was tough because I was reading them and I was like, well, God, that sounds a little judgy. You know what I'm saying? Like, why don't you ease up on it, brother? You talk about grace. You talk about like forgetting about my transgressions. But it surely doesn't feel like that right now. But what it helped me to do is when I read these questions, I had to slow down. I had to be present because to answer these questions, you have to be present. And when I went through the full realm of them, what I found was I was sitting in a place where I was starting to appreciate what was going on in that moment. So I encourage you for the next 7 days, take these questions, write them down, and then, ask yourself in the morning and send me back a comment. Let me know, hey, none of this stuff worked. That's cool. Whatever it is. So in verse 1, here we go. What are your real motives, and are you dealing with the symptom or the real challenge? This was a hard one that my pops would ask me all the time is like, what are your real motives? Are your motives like, in the motives that I had when I was when I was doom scrolling, I think a lot of it was, when we're doom scrolling, we're comparing, maybe we're looking at and trying to, gain a little bit of market share or whatever it is. But what's your real motives? Are you, if I was present, I probably could have met someone in the airport that, was sitting right next to me, but I didn't. I was just focused on me. And so my motives, like, what are your real motives today? And what are you dealing with the symptom of the challenge, like spending the energy on that? Or are you actually dealing with the real challenge at hand? And this is a huge one, right? And so I didn't like the question because I felt judged in it. Now, verse number 2, ask the question, are you truly seeking wisdom or justification for your silly decisions? I have to get silent on that one. Because there's some times where I'm seeking wisdom, but other times where I'm just looking for a person to be like, yeah, you're right. Well, the more, yeah, you're right, the less wisdom that I seek. So are you truly seeking wisdom or justification for your silly decisions? In verse number 3, are you respecting the warning signs? Nope, I wasn't, right? Nope, not at all, because there's been times where, like my brother called me out the other day, we were golfing, and I looked down at my phone, and I just happened to look down at my phone when he hit a good shot. Maybe it was just he wanted me to see the good shot, but he hit this good shot, and then he turned around to me, and he was like, put that down, be present. You missed the shot. Well, when I looked at that, like, if I would have respected the warning signs, that was the warning sign. So it was just missing a shot in golf. It wasn't missing my plane, but it was the exact same thing because it was my phone that was getting me distracted and I wasn't being present in that moment. So I wasn't respecting the warning signs. Thanks a lot, God, on that one too. Again, if you want to stop being judged right now, you just turn off the podcast. I'm joking. Stick with us. But write these things down and then ask yourself these in the morning. Seriously, this was crazy yesterday when I had to go through it. In verse 4, are you keeping it fresh? Are you keeping it fresh and looking at ways to be able to get better every single day in your relationship with God, in your relationship with your family, in your relationship with your friends? Are you looking to get better in your business? Looking at the efficiencies and realizing that the systems that you had yesterday were nothing more than a list of your screw-ups. So screw up today, create a new system, make it more efficient. Every single thing in life can get better if we focus on that. And so when it gets better, it stays fresh. But I tell you, when you start letting it get stale, that's when you start managing. That's when you start like loving the systems, right? How many times have we had in our lives, like, a person be like, oh, that's the way we've always done it. It's like, you don't have to do it that way all the time. My pops did that with, I tell the story about him. We were driving and he was like, son, we need to go to Uncle Lou's house. I said, why? He said, because we need to help him get those, his 8-track or his reel-to-reel fixed. And I was like, why? He said he's got so much good music on those reels. I said, Dad, give me your phone. I downloaded Pandora real quick, turned on like Southern rock, because he likes some Led Zeppelin and he likes some Creedence Clearwater, and I put in a station and then I turned it on and he's like, where do you get that music, boy? I said, it's an app on your phone. He said, how much it costs? I said, it's free. He said, how much music is in there? I said, as much as you want. And then he just looked at me. He was like, yeah, but those reel-to-reel sound really good though, don't they, son? Sometimes we want to do it because we've done it that way all the time. But there's sometimes new ways that are more efficient, that'll give us our time back, and that'll keep it fresh. So are you keeping it fresh? In verse 5, are you doing the right thing? This is I just hear my friend Gary Spellman in this. Are you doing the right thing? He told me he was going to write a book. It was going to be 1 page, leather bound, be beautiful, sell it for $1,000 a book. And I was like, wow, what will it say? He said, just have 1 page, just say one thing and say, do the right thing. And then after it'll say the end. Do the right thing. Are you doing the right thing? How do we know what the right thing is? We stay in touch with God because he'll let us know what the right thing is at that particular time, right? In verse 6, 7, 8, 13, are you speaking life and are you slow to speak? Are you speaking life into people? Are you talking about the things that they're great at? Are you lifting them up? Are you complimenting them specifically on the things they're doing? We do this in our men's group. We're going to do this at the Vibe Experience. We're going to speak life into each other. And when you do this, it's amazing what can happen. But ask yourself, every single day in the morning for 7 days straight, are you speaking life to people and things around you? And are you slow to speak, meaning that you're quick to listen? And I would say in this yesterday, I was a no to both of them because I was just mad that I had missed my flight, right? But it was my fault. It was because I needed to be present and I needed to slow down. And as my pops would say, wake up, boy. So let's see here. In verse number 9, it asked about this is, what are you destroying by being lazy? These questions are tough. They're very tough. I wrote them and then I read them, but I hadn't read them. I just reading them back, it convicts me even more. What am I destroying by being lazy? Being lazy is just, it's not resting. Being lazy is not doing right work. Being diligent is doing right work. How do we know it's right? By staying in communication with God, he'll let us know exactly what that is. But when we're not doing those things and we're filling our time with other stuff, We're being lazy. What are you destroying by being lazy? I destroyed 4 hours of my day with my family, not only the 4 hours that it took to wait in the airport, but also I had to fly into San Diego, not to Carlsbad, and then drive all the way home. So about 5.5 hours that I destroyed of spending time with my family because I was not present and I didn't slow down enough. As my pops would say, I didn't wake up, boy. In verse 10 and 11, is what is your faith rooted in? There's a bunch of different things. Sometimes it could be rooted in our financial status, right? I've ran into this a lot where, when I remember there was a time where, I was constantly grabbing a hold of the check, paying for everybody, doing all this stuff. That was just a pride thing. This is what my brother helped me to be able to realize. But imagine at that time, my faith was in my finances. But what God is telling you is like, check this out. Like, what is your faith rooted in? He's just asking you the question. But the answer will be very telling of the things that happen within your life. In verse 12, is your pride messing with you? If so, in what area of your life? Because pride will come before destruction. And I tell you, every time I got prideful in an area, there was a reckoning coming. In verse 14, is your spirit being lifted up? Ask that by your environment that you put yourself in, the people you put yourself around, the things that you're thinking about, the things that you're talking about, the things that you're listening to or watching. Is your spirit being lifted up? And I can tell you, when you spend time with God, your spirit will be lifted up. My spirit was down a little bit yesterday. I spent some time with God and it lifted right up. Then I went back into doom scrolling a little bit and I found my spirit went down. When you spend time with him, he'll lift it up. In verse 15, are you filling your heart with wisdom? And what are you listening to? Man, these questions are tough. In verse 17, are you listening to the whole story? Are you listening to the whole story before you react? Are you listening twice as fast as you're speaking? Are you listening to the whole story? Or are you just listening to what you want to listen to or what you want to hear to be able to justify your own silliness? I plead the fifth on that one. So I'm gonna move on. But I ask you, just ask that question 7 days in a row when you wake up. And verse 20 through 21, are your words breathing life into the people, places, and things around you? Are your words breathing life? Are you lifting people up? I tell you, there's a guy named John Elston. He's going to be at the Vibe Experience. I tell you, for the last couple of weeks, this dude has been lifting me up, probably a week and a half, but I feel like I've been friends with him my whole entire life. I got a chance to talk to him on the way up to Lompoc. We were talking and he asked me, about some things. And I said, I want to create the first CVO position. He said, what's a CVO? I said, a Chief Vibe Officer. And then I went through, and it wasn't a fluffy word of just the vibe. It was the not the energy you brought into the room, but the way the people felt. And imagine if people felt different about the leadership in their company. They felt different about the systems. They felt different about the culture. They would actually adhere to it. So it wasn't just this fluffy word, and I got to explain to him, and he just kept asking me questions. And he was breathing life into me. Are you breathing life into the people around you? Are your words doing that? In verse 22, how is your family life? I joked with John and the other day, and I told him that I sold insurance. He was like, wow, I didn't know you're an insurance salesman. I said, yep. I sell insurance that will guarantee and protect 50% of your net worth, 30% of your income in perpetuity, and your mental health. And he was like, wow. And I said, the also too, what's crazy about it is the premium isn't that much. And if you knew it, you would never go without it. He was like, man, I'm in. What is it? And I said, stay married. He was like, oh, we both started laughing because so many times, no matter what is happening in life, the family falls apart, and then you have to produce, whether it be financially or in other areas, you have to produce twice as much. You have to expend twice as much energy because now you got two families. So what I would suggest is honor your wife, like I was talking about earlier. Honor your wife at the highest level possible. Honor your parents. Honor your brothers. Honor your friends. And ask yourself how your family life is. And if it isn't, stop what you're doing and be present, slow down, wake up, boy, like he said, and just work on the family as much as possible. In verse 24, what type and how many friends do you have around you? Now, some people would go right to how many friends do I have around me? I have a bunch of friends. I have all these things. But then ask yourself, what type are they? Are they the type that are breathing life into you? Are they filling up your spirit? Are they leading you to God? Are they telling you, like when you ask advice, are they giving you godly wisdom? Or are they just giving you worldly wisdom? So ask yourself that question. I'm going to run through these questions real quick like this, right? So for the next 7 days, I would challenge you to do this. What are your real motives, and are you dealing with the symptom or the challenge? Are you truly seeking wisdom or justification for your silly actions? Are you respecting the warning signs? Are you keeping it fresh? Are you doing the right thing? Are you speaking life? And are you slow to speak? What are you destroying by being lazy? What is your faith rooted in? Is your pride messing with you? If so, in what area of your life is your spirit being lifted up? Are you filling your heart with wisdom? And what are you listening to? Are you listening to the whole story? Are your words breathing life into people? How is your family life? And what type and how many friends do you have around you? Ask yourself these questions. They will slow you down because you will have to be present to answer them. Well, this has been another episode of Inchstones. This has been Proverbs 18. I would suggest that you read through Proverbs 18 if you want to read. If you're more of a reader, check out our Substack. If you want to listen and watch, keep doing it on the podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. If you want to experience it, the Vibe Experience, April 12th, that event should be illegal, absolutely illegal, because it's going to be so incredible. Mr. John Elston is going to be there. Michael Jordan, 40 years in the hospitality industry. He's going to be bringing his wisdom and spending time with you. James Dixon, number one motivational speaker in the world. Keith Hale, one of the top coaches in the entire world. Baron Baptiste, leadership, yoga. This guy is incredible. Marketing, Peter Anthony, The Vibe, yours truly. We got Claudia Ryan on music. We got Linda Schwartz on comedy. I tell you, it's going to be a full day from 9 till 3. We're going to go nuts and bolts in your business. Then we're going to go from 6:30 till 9 at night, and you're going to relax in a speakeasy jazz club, and you're going to have music. You're going to have comedy. You're going to have interviews. You're going to have networking. Unbelievable. It should be absolutely illegal. And if you want to engage with us, it would be have me come in and speak in your company, your corporation, or your convention. So hopefully you have a phenomenal day. It's been another episode of Inchstones. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off. That's it. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I climb. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised.